clean that up a little bit. Again, you want to share your memories with us today about Bobby Bowden. We'd love to have you. And boy, thank you to all of those of you that have been tuning in and watching some of the stuff we've put out over on YouTube. I saw a nice thumbs up from the YouTube people on that. And that's not me. That's you. That's you tuning in and watching. And again, today we're remembering legendary FSU head coach Bobby Bowden for the majority of the day. We'll also get into the Clemson Tigers more so in hour number 2, but just wanted to share some of my highlights, the memories of that interview with Coach Bowden, and then my memories of the punt Ruski and so many moments in that Clemson and Florida State series that I think is really special to probably every fan who had a chance to be a part of it. And, you know, when I look back at those games, those early games between Bobby and Tommy and his wife Ann sitting in the stands with the split shirt, the first year, I think she had Clem on one side and like it ended up being like State or something on the other, but recognizing that her son was the coach at Clemson, the following year she was wearing the shirt that had son in the Clemson colors, and Florida in the Florida State, you know, with almost to maybe the S or whatever, you know, however they ended up making it work for those shirts. But, you know, really just the things he did, and I mentioned this earlier, if you watch the movie Marshall and you do any research on his legacy at West Virginia and how he reached out to that program, I mean, it's just so incredible because the fundamental principles around the success of Bobby Bowden's program did not come down to all the wins and losses that he accumulated. And I think that's one of the things that was just so impressive. And as much as he was endearing to recruits, I think he was endearing to fans. I think it was hard, even as a Clemson person, to dislike Bobby Bowden. It was hard to dislike his program. The thing you did was you looked at his program and said, why can't we be that? Why can't we emulate that? And look, it's not been emulated. It has not been replicated. And I might make an argument that as good as Alabama is today, if a college football playoff had existed when Bobby Bowden was the head coach at Florida State, how many more championships might he have had? I mean, we say he only has 2, and that's a fact. But had there been a 4-team playoff during the stretch from 1987, when they went 11-1, all the way to the year 2000, every one of those seasons, they finished inside the top 5. Again, that doesn't mean they would have been in every single one of those college football playoffs as one of the top 4 teams. Every single season during that time, they won 10 or more ball games. And, you know, we kind of ran through these ridiculous numbers that Bobby Bowden accumulated a few weeks ago when we were investigating Dabo Swanny and his success by comparison to Bobby Bowden. And honestly, I mean, at this point, Dabo Swanny, given the fact that Alabama just a few years ago had what I think is fair to label a, quote, off campaign, I mean, Dabo Swanny's the guy that could make a little bit of a run at this thing, but he's got a lot of work to do. I mean, Clemson right now has finished inside the top 4 for 6 consecutive seasons. You got a lot of work. Like they would say in golf, there's a lot of meat left on that bone. But that just goes to tell you, you know, just exemplifies how good Bowden's teams were. And then to think that at that time they were facing off with Miami. They were facing off with Florida. I mean, they were taking on as an independent pretty much all comers. And then they get into the ACC and they're certainly dominant. And that night when Virginia finally knocked them off, that was a memorable moment for everybody in the league because up until that point, Bobby Bowden and Florida State had just cruised through the ACC. And so that was the first moment where you were like, you remember in Rocky IV, where Rocky finally, well, not to give too much away here, spoiler alert, once Rocky busts the Russian open, Ivan Drago open, he's bleeding. And he realizes that he's a man. He's not a robot. He's not a machine. And also, that's sort of when Ivan realizes, maybe this little American guy's more than I thought. Also, a great line in Rocky is when he says, like, there's 3 of them out there. Hit the one in the middle. And I think it's Paulie that suggests hit the one in the middle. And then his corner man, who was Apollo's corner man previously, is like, yeah, hit the one in the middle. Genius, Paulie. Thanks. Now go back to the robot or whatever you're doing, Paulie. 803-450-0086. If you want to share a memory of Coach Bowden, feel free. Again, I've got one more great one that I'm going to tell, and it's another personal one for me. And this was about setting up the interview with Coach Bowden, and how that went down when I called his house. Because like I did not grow up with Bobby Bowden, obviously. I didn't grow up with Coach Bowden. But for a brief moment, I felt like I might have. Like me and Wally, the Beaver, Coach Bowden, all just kind of growing up in the old days. And I'll have to tell you that story when we get back here on the show that shakes the Southland. Again, it is Clemson Sports. I'll keep it locked. Tell your friends and neighbors and your friends' neighbors about us. 803-450-0086. It is the show that shakes the Southland, rolling along, remembering Bobby Bowden here on a Monday afternoon. His impact will be felt for many, many years in the sport that you and I both love. And you know what? I don't care if this is a Clemson show or a Florida show. We celebrate that legacy today. Stay with us.
I'm Mark Morial, President